I will turn my volume up. I will turn y'all's volume up.
That's all I got.
All right.
It makes sense. Trust us.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm listening to this song.
Oh, see, he wasn't even paying attention to us. Whatever. All right. Greetings and salutations, travelers. Welcome back to the Interplanar Crossroads, and welcome back to our Around the Hearth discussion. As you may notice, we have some guests. We have Ross and I believe Jason from the Black Dragon Gaming game for... It's the all-rogue game, correct?
We're calling it Tuesday Night 2E, and yes, right now Jason is GMing a party where we're all rogues, and we now have 3 combats under our belt that we have barely survived. Well, the werewolf fight wasn't that bad. The werewolf was on.
Welcome to all being rogues.
Yeah. Don't you know, from first edition, rogues die first, you know?
It's all about position.
Haven't had that problem. We fought 13 rogues. Well, I think they were rogues. I don't know what was in that.
Rogue Ranger mix?
Bandits.
All right. Well.
Yeah, it sounds Rogue Ranger.
First thing we have to do, as usual, is get out of the way our announcements and our disclaimer. Our disclaimer is, this is an adult podcast that sometimes features adults, that sometimes use adult language, not this one but others. You have been warned.
Thanks, Dad. You say the guy who says "God damn it" as now Tiki's gone. It's like this has become a bidding war. I don't know what life is. What, how, who.
Also, for the Interplanar Crossroads, we might be doing something different. We announced that we were having some possible players come in. We announced that we were looking for players, and we set that out there and got a flyer. But we're also going to have a discussion a little bit later with BDG to see if there's something that we might do as a collaboration as well. So that may fill up the time slot or change the game we're playing. So we're just making people aware that could be something that they would see in the future instead of like a normal homebrew game that we would do. But that's really the only announcement that I have, aside from all of the content that you see on the Interplanar Crossroads is brought to you by viewers and travelers like you. Thank you.
Man, you're too good at that. That's your thing.
That's right. My sultry, smooth voice is my only claim to fame.
The PBS PSA.
So when are you going into radio?
Hey, I could do radio.
Yeah, no, I mean, it doesn't seem like currently you're planning on it, but like...
Hey, all right, anybody needing voicing done, contact me. The IOPC submissions, or
just paying more than a book and a mic.
Yeah. All right. I don't have anything else. Tommy, do you have anything you need to announce?
Something Final Fantasy giveaway. I don't have a meme for it this time. What's good? You see that guy in the middle? He's got glasses and he's wearing a gray shirt. He's one of the players. And Jason might too. Jason came up to our highest tier, and that could be his reward. Sunday night, 7 to 10. You could have. Actually, we did decide earlier today that we're gonna have a. I don't know what the setting of gun rule from Pathfinder is called, but it's like. I don't want to say
it's the emerging firearms rules.
That man's going to have a machine gun, is what it means. And that's as far as...
The FD20 system has its own thing, but essentially I think we agreed that the technology level is going to be around World War II.
Right. So, and there's going to be dudes with swords and bows and things too. So if you ever want to put those together, and
my main weapons are a bolt-action rifle, basically a M1 Garand, that I can cast my spells through because I'm a gun mage, and a literal gunblade. A marksman's gunblade. So it's basically a long sword with a mini rifle inside of it.
So I don't have to up the board to 600-foot squares because that's the range increments of a sniper rifle. Nevertheless, it's it's going to be sweet.
Cool beans.
I thought about sniper rifles, then I realized it's 8,000 gold just to get the base weapon, let alone get an enchanted one.
To have an attack range of 600 square,
yeah.
That's happening. That's going to be a thing. It's going to be sweet. Should be in the next few weeks. Oh, also, I do have another announcement as of like an hour ago, I guess, several of my patrons have answered the call to get us to our $750 a month patron rewards. So BDG's putting out not just like videos of to put out homebrew content. We're making PDFs. I'm going to become a third-party publisher because of the people that are really nice to me, and I'm still just what. But thank you guys so much. If Tiki's watching this, Josh, Ross, Jason, everybody in this room supports the channel in one way or another. Finally got Levi. Did that thing. Adam was the first, actually.
He was at 748, and I'm like, all right, I want to see the homebrew. $2, and then money otherwise. Just.
And then the things were things, and you guys are amazing, and I don't even know what to say. So Mariner's Revenge is where we should go.
Yes.
Also, like this comment on this. If we should go back to Rune Lords, do that. That will be a thing that is sweet. I will turn them against you, Adam.
Spoilers for our discussion
you're getting way ahead of us now.
We're not talking about that right now. What we're talking about is the Mariner's Revenge song from the Decemberists, I believe it is. So I will put that on in the background for people to maybe be able to hear over us. I don't know. But I'll shift over so people can at least get a little bit of the sound from it and see the lyrics. So, this was suggested by Kane, so I'll let him kind of lead us off, and we'll start our conversion for it.
Okay. The Mariner's Revenge is a song by the Decemberists. It's an nearly 9-minute story, essentially told in verse, about It's a song about revenge. It's a boy who had both his life and his mother's life ruined by some jackass who came in and drank up all his mother's money and left them with a bunch of gambling debts before returning to sea. And he chases this man after the death of his mother. He becomes homeless and eventually ends up on a boat with the privateers chasing this man across the sea. And the song climaxes with them both being eaten by a whale. And they're both alive inside the whale, and he finally gets his revenge where he beats the man to death in the belly of a whale with a piece of shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is, given the song doesn't sound very metal when you listen to it, that's pretty goddamn metal.
I can agree with that.
The subject material is definitely metal.
Expert can confirm.
Yeah. And what I had initially in mind for the song was probably like maybe a story arc, or even just a set of NPCs and an encounter based around it, using a pirate vessel captained by a revenant.
One of my favorite undeads.
Or depending on how long, like how many sessions you wanted to stretch out the inspiration of the song over, you could have it be an NPC that later becomes a revenant, and that is sort of a turning point event that forces the party to have to deal with it.
Part of me was thinking you could make it so that way it's a revenant from the beginning, and you're hunting it, only to find out why it's a revenant and who it's hunting, and that person's already slighted the party, perhaps, making it a sort of an ethical dilemma between, do we take out this undead monstrosity, or do we let it have its revenge? Which could be very interesting, especially considering the alignments and religious beliefs of your party members.
That's true. Do revenants die after they get their revenge?
Yes. If I remember the lore behind it correctly, basically either you need to banish a revenant, or it will get its revenge. If you kill it, it just comes back.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I'm pretty sure it doesn't necessarily die. Once it gets its revenge, it just no longer has that, like...
It's still...
a reason for undeath.
it
right?
passes into... it supposedly would pass into its eternal rest after that. I had to learn that because Aisha... Spoilers for Rise of the Rune Lords. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Aisha Foxglove.
Spoilers you guys didn't even see.
Yeah.
They just ran off together.
Aisha Foxglove is a revenant, so she would hunt down her husband regardless. Okay, spoilers over. Spoilers over. So they will.
Magpie is
pass
best
over.
character. Oh shoot, I ruined it.
Oh no!
That party was so good at killing individual boss-like creatures. Yes.
Oh man, I'm sorry, but I just love the banter Magpie had.
Oh,
He was amazing.
yes.
He was.
Magpie is amazing. I don't understand. Why do they assume that when they look in the dictionary and the word amazing, they do not see a picture of magpie? This dictionary is wrong. This dictionary has been wrong. Somebody has lied to the creators of this dictionary, for a magpie is not next to amazing and awesome. Almost every word that is A can be described by magpie, except the unfortunate one. That one is not magpie.
No, that's probably
Weirdly enough,
magpie.
I'm
too.
even next to Aardvark. I don't know how that happened, though.
Apparently, they think I eat ants. That is weird. Apparently, they think I am an ant. Who made this dictionary?
Bird, he probably would eat ants.
Yeah, I think a raven would be, or crow, or whatever Tengu is.
Well, back to the Mariners.
I believe you have officially lost control.
Yes. Back to the Mariners' Revenge. So I like the idea of the Revenant thing. One of the thoughts I had for it is, if you were going to make this a PC and you were going to kind of use this story as an inspiration for the PC, you'd go to you kind of have the backstory part be the point to where he leaves the monastery, after cleaning it up, the priory and stuff, and he hears about the sea captain, which was the one that wronged his mom and stuff, and the cruelty about it. He heard about it, and he tries to follow him out to sea. It talks about in the song how he was 20 months at sea or something like that.
Yeah.
So that's a whole short campaign worth, maybe a long campaign depending on how you worked it. But you could do that whole thing, and if you have it worked out right, the rest of the PCs are the ship, the privateers, but one of those is the boy from the song, and the others don't have to know that he wants that sea captain, not for the treasure that he's supposed to have, or not for anything else, not for revenge of any of the other nasty stuff he may have done and the cruelty that he did, but he wants that really personal revenge. And he is what is that? If you really wanted to play up the ghosty portion of it, you could use that boy as there's one of the not psychic, but
Occult?
the occult classes that has a ghost with him. What is it, shaman or
The spiritualist.
spiritualist?
Who has the ghost take the mold.
The Phantom, yeah.
He's a
there's
spiritualist haunted by
Hologram.
his mother's revenant, but haunted by his mother. Because a couple times in there, it tells him what to do. It says, find him, bind him, tie him to a pole and break his fingers to splinters.
As someone who has
so on and
had
so
a
forth.
character that's played a spiritualist, that really fits. Especially considering the fact the few times they didn't stick with it. It was kind of a sort of growth pace of figuring out what classes they wanted to mess around with, but the spiritualist class in that regard definitely plays into it a lot. I remember they ended up using, I believe it was either the barkeep spirit or the gambler spirit, because they were in a bar when they were looking for their spirit. And one of the drawbacks of that particular spirit is that they could not willingly accept the magical powers of others, which became a big problem later on in the fight when they didn't have access to the healing abilities.
Anger, dedication, despair, fear. I don't see revenge here specifically, but I suppose anger would work. Anger or hatred.
Hatred would probably really work.
Fear leads to hatred. Hatred leads to you have a revenant now.
Not an exact Yoda quote.
Another way you might want to play this is from the end of the song. What happens once they're in the belly of the beast? Sooner or later.
He's digested.
Sorry.
I said, I imagine he's digested.
Unless,
Pinocchio.
say, yes, Pinocchio, or, there's been a fight, and a short time later, the whale gets taken by another whaling ship.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to pull this whale up on deck, start breaking it down, and you have one person in a very bad state and another person who's, still beating him and otherwise making his death as unhappy as possible. So, what the PCs could be on that ship. Suddenly you're thrown into this. If you add anything to it, maybe this young rake is from a good family, so some sort of aristocracy. So you have that entire, hey, we know this person is, of a background where helping him will help us. But on the other side, do the PCs help him with his revenge, or, kind of throws that into it?
That would be kind of funny. Because you make a point here where if the PCs maybe didn't have access to like knowledge, nobility, and maybe they just sort of got that he was a noble off of like keepsakes from when his mother was alive, you could definitely do something where they thought he was a noble, like, hey, if we bring this guy back, maybe we'll get a little bosh. But his family, by the end of it, he ends up homeless because to pay off all of their debts, the magistrate reclaims their house and all of their assets.
I was talking nobility on the other side.
Oh, you mean the guy he's torturing?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the person that did that to his
you
mom.
could also do that.
I could see that.
There's also the option of making the captain character, the one the boy is hunting down, sympathetic, all the while making the boy an antagonist to the party, only for them to find out the true reason as to why the boy's hunting the party and the captain in their party, especially if the captain's a PC.
Yeah, I could also definitely see that, like, when I was thinking of how you would have the Revenant be a foil to the party is probably, if I were to use this as inspiration for a PC, I would either do what Adam suggested with the Spiritualist, which I thought was really good. I had never even thought of that. Or I would imagine I would make a character that was based upon the guy he was chasing, the subject of his, the enmity in the song.
And it says,
this would probably be like the character would probably be evil because you're kind of a huge dill hole if you're that guy.
yeah. Well, trying to make him sympathetic, it does say when the way that the boy finds out about where the rake is one night I overheard the priory exchanging words with a penitent wailer from the sea. So it says...
There's no way to do this in time.
No. But it says he's a penitent whaler from the sea, and it's a captain of a ship who matched him toe to tip, was known for wanton cruelty. So he may have been a whaler or even a slaver or something like that who has started to see the error of his ways, started to really be penitent about all the stuff he did, and so he came to the priory to confess and to find absolution, and as he's leaving, his sins catch up to him with the boy. And if you wanted to do it that way, you could even make him not even a PC. You could make the rake the captain of the ship that they're boarded on, and maybe they've traveled with that captain for a while after he started to try and mend his ways and become a respectable whaler or something like that, instead of carting around perhaps slaves or contraband or privateering against other ships or so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
But the boy doesn't care. The boy wants revenge. It doesn't matter how much the man is apologizes. He just wants revenge for his mother. So that would be the way that might work well for turning that person as sympathetic, especially if he's helped the players before.
To me, it sounds more like the whaler, the penitent, came in, had confession, and part of what he was talking to his confessor about was the captain of the ship he was on.
That was
So
also
the
what I
captain
thought.
is the rake, and he is still known for wanton cruelty. The captain is known, not necessarily the whaler.
Fair. That is true. That is fair. That's a fair assessment of the song. I just thought it was cool to put the other two together and work it together.
Oh, I agree too. But the other route you can play on this is it's a chase. Now the boy has heard about this cruel sea captain. Sounds like the guy he's after. Okay, what further leads can he chase down? What else can he do to find them? I mean, he finally ships with a privateer. I mean, the next day he ships with a privateer. Where do they go in the hunt, and what is he willing to sacrifice for this? I mean, does he become an evil character too? Does he start to run with pirates and slavers?
Well, it seems to insinuate that. It seems to insinuate the boy is sacrificing everything for this revenge, including his own life, because he doesn't try to get out of the whale in the story. He dies in the whale in the story, but he makes the sea captain's life, or death in this case, miserable in the interim. So,
Food for thought.
Food for thought.
Food for thought. I like it as a not quite a ritual, not quite a...
Oh, I saw your video
maybe
earlier
even-
today, you and your rituals.
But that's where my head's been, okay? It's cool. Not quite a ritual, quite a, like, the back of a book, I guess. Like, not the back of an AP, but like the flavor on the back of the book to get you to buy the book. As like a prayer to Nora that backfires. Say it be like an ex-member of the Navy who leaves the Navy to seek revenge on the proverbial Jack Sparrow, say, for lack of a better way to say it. And then rather than you find him, bind him, tie him to a pole, instead of that, Pharasma summons up a thalassac behemoth. I think a thalassac behemoth is the one that's just a whale with lobster claws. And
Yeah, that's a
they both get eaten, because that's breath. Blah. Man, it has been a night. Now it's Besmara's MO. I'm gonna do what I want. If you've wronged me, I will get my revenge. Ha cha 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 cha. So it kind of either as like the bit of flavor in a AP somewhere that a player finds or the party finds, something like that, or as like, again, like maybe like the exact things you need to say to find him, bind him, are the uncommon, if you will, element to the ritual to get Besmara's favor. And then like it comes down in the game as sort of a mid to end game, or certainly end campaign thing that happens, is that you are asking a god to step in on your behalf, and then it doesn't, and suddenly you have to fight a really, really powerful, really scary entity that I'm pretty sure you can survive inside. I forget. I know there's definitely a whale in that same bestiary you can survive in, but that's the Oma, I think is what it's called. The one that the literal space whale, the Farscape whale, is what it is.
I think the Thalassac behemoth. Any the behemoths, the whale behemoths. You can survive inside because they trap you in a maze spell.
Yeah, I think that's right. I've never actually looked at their stats. I have only been like, that is neat.
Well, if you
would
actually
like
do
to-
that and you take the route where you're the PC that's the inspiration for this song, you may try to get the sea captain away to perform that ritual to set your mother's soul at rest. Because the other PCs might not be on board with this whole slow death, bind him, bury him alive, break his fingers and bury him alive type thing, so he can bury him alive naked so he can claw at his tomb, his own tomb. So that whole thing.
That was a mess.
Yeah. But let me see. How long have we gone? Okay, we've gone about
20
20
minutes-ish.
Yeah, about 20 minutes on the actual talk. So, any final notes on what we think of this particular Mariner's Revenge song? No? We have covered everything. What?
I mean, I was getting ready to.
Okay,
Sorry.
no worries. Go ahead.
I definitely think it leaves a lot of interest and intrigue. My only problem with it becomes just a cause of concern that this is the sort of moral dilemma that can really split up a party if you're not careful with how you go about it. Especially, say, if, for example, you do go with the Revenant idea, and there's one of your players is playing a cleric of Pharasma, for example. That kind of probably would make them kind of feel like they have to go one route or the other. So I'm not certain if it's really much of a problem with the DM or any of the ideas. I just worry about that whole, with how alignment seems to be so strict and important in Pathfinder, that might end up making people feel like they have to go one way when they think they would rather go another way. Because they'll have actual, like, mechanical repercussions.
Well, it might be worth pointing out for someone following Pharasma, like if you're worried about that and this is the type of situation you run into. Pharasma hates undead in general, but her main hatred is towards willfully created undead. She doesn't necessarily hate ghosts because they can't control if they're made. She hates the necromancer, not the creation type thing.
Fair
And
enough.
Ross, there's the answer to your question from last Sunday, Ross. Why don't all the Pharasman clerics crusade to the ethereal plane constantly? There you go.
I still
Not
think
to
that's a
interrupt.
funny idea.
Yeah.
Hi-ho, hi-ho. It's up to kill ghosts I go.
Send the ghosts away.
All right, anything from you, Levi? Last minute notes?
Honestly, nothing really. At least nothing notable.
Okay. Kane, last chance? Anything?
I was just trying to find the name of a Pathfinder fiction novel in response to something you said about Pharasman clerics. There's a Pathfinder fiction novel about an Inquisitor of Pharasma who hates Pharasma.
I remember that one. He was born in Razmarin, I believe it is, the kingdom that has totally forsaken all religion.
Roll-Hadim?
Yeah.
And yeah, I read that one. It is, Pharasma is not necessarily a nice person.
Death's Heretic. That's what it's called.
Oh,
So if
that's
you
a
want some
very...
more Pharasman stuff, there you go.
Indeed.
Yeah, nobody cheats death. A warrior haunted by his past, Salim Gadafar serves as a problem solver for the church he hates, bound by the goddess of death to hunt down those who would rob her of her due.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Jason, what about you? Anything that you want to make my last minute note on this one?
No. Very interesting song.
All right. Tommy, last chance. Anything?
Why, yes, I shall note the thoracic behemoth actually does not put you in a maze when it swallows you whole. I had to go back and check, but I will note that it has the lowest touch armor class I've ever seen of this many.
Is
Oh,
it touch
it's
armor
touch.
class of 1?
Touch armor class of 1. Yeah.
Yeesh.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah, for sure.
Makes sense, but wow.
I mean, are you really surprised that a flying whale has a low armor class?
Does it fly? It does not fly.
I was about to say, is this a whale lord situation where they have the dimensions of it messed up to the point at which the thing's lighter than air?
Yeah.
God,
No.
that is the funniest thing about whale lord.
Is this a Pokemon?
Well, I mean, it's called the
Yeah.
float whale.
Yeah, it's a Pokemon. It's the whale Pokemon. It's supposed to be like one of the biggest Pokemons in the game series and whatnot, and it's supposed to be the whale Pokemon. But its dimensions would make it so that way its mass, its density is less than that of air.
Yeah. So it's a floating whale.
Literally.
But I guess for like a final note on the subject of what we were actually talking about, I kind of also like, not necessarily even this song, but like songs in general, whether they are copyrighted or written by like you, the GM, or a player, or Hotshot, as Resident Evil, Silent Hill-esque like diary entries, right? You know what I mean? That you find as you go on and on throughout a campaign that slowly answer questions that start out kind of vague. I guess our ship, sole survivors in this belly of a whale, it's less than vague. You seem to know who they are, what happened to them, where you can find them, but you don't know the entire story, and that reveals itself as you as that campaign runs, right? Another example I could tie into that is like in Final Fantasy X, when the protagonist thinks he's just been run out of town, but actually his town is basically a psychic manifestation, and he too is a psychic manifestation of someone who never was, because a powerful thing said so. And as like the narrative goes on here, I'm not sure exactly what specifically in this one you could like use as like the turn in the campaign. Probably cut that first paragraph, or the first 2 stanzas. Maybe start it, you may not remember me, and then like roll it out like that, in such a way that your party is like, they have something to go on. They have that, especially if this is an in-person game and you can like write it down, hand it. So they have that physical thing for when they're lost, and make them lost if you must, to like sell it to where this is what we're going on. So they stick to it, and it's always in the back of their head as they're running. And then as it goes, it does this until eventually you do, whether it's now we've realized that this is why this behemoth that has been summoned is still terrorizing our port city, or anything in between, depending on what you're using in your game. It helps flesh it out. And I think I can't talk tonight. And I think that's really neat.
I can't find it. I can't find the whale I'm thinking of.
No, I believe you. I'm sure it's out there. I'm sure somewhere there is a maze whale. I'll Google it. Maze whale Pathfinder.
Okay.
It's like one of the things that all of the eldest, like, they have to agree together to use it before they let it out.
Oh, one of the Tane?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Is it a Leviathan, perhaps?
Oh yeah, there it is. It's the Leviathan.
Aha! I did it.
All right.
Yeah, CR30, gigantic. That one has a touch of 13. And a fly speed. There's our flying whale.
Well,
When Leviathan strikes
we
a
found it
creature, I see planes I'm looking for the where. It has eye beams. That's spooky. Inhalation. Labyrinthian innards. Yeah, that'll do it. Cool.
well, there you go. You know what swallowed them. Now you just have to play it out. That would be an interesting way to play out a campaign. But that's where we're going to end, I believe, because we have all given our final thoughts on this particular song. We hope you enjoyed. We hope you had a great time. God bless and enjoy. Bye.
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 Peace out.
This content was made possible by travelers and viewers like you. Thank you.